Hey everyone, how's it going? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be going over my game collection. I'm going to start with my Switch games first. That's the largest part of my collection, I would say. So first we have Demon Slayer, the Hinokami Chronicles. Next I have Dragon Ball FighterZ. This is one of my favorite fighting games. I also have Dragon Ball The Breakers. I haven't had a chance to play this yet. I didn't realize that you had to have the Switch Online in order to play it. So as soon as I get that, I'll be trying it out. I also have Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. Next I have Ghost Runner. This is one that I enjoyed, but I didn't finish it. For me, with games where you have to be pretty precise, I prefer playing on keyboard and mouse, and trying to play this on a controller was pretty difficult. So I probably won't ever try to finish this game unless I get it on Steam or something. Here I've got Hades. This game was a little different than I was expecting it to be. It's pretty fun. It's also pretty difficult in my opinion, but I think that's kind of what makes it fun. This is one of my favorite things from my Switch collection. This is Hyper Light Drifter Special Edition, and I actually have a box that goes along with this. I actually didn't know that they made a physical copy of this game, but one day when I was at a game store, I saw that they had a sealed copy, and I think I only paid $60 for it, so I thought that was a pretty good deal. And then this came with, if I can get this box open. This came with a big poster, and it came with the soundtrack on CD, both discs. And I love the soundtrack for this game, which is a big reason why I wanted to buy this. And then it also came with this like reflective card thing and this keychain. I like getting collective boxes like this, but my only problem with them on the Switch so far is it seems like everyone I see is a different size. So whenever you're putting them on a display shelf, it looks odd, I guess you'd say. I understand if some of them are obviously going to be bigger, but for smaller ones like this, even, they're just all over the place when it comes to size. So for example, here's this Nintendo Switch Sports box for comparison. And as you can see, they're the same height, but the width is completely off. And I don't really see why this box needs to be that wide, because, everything else and the game would fit in a smaller box, like this one, so, I don't know. That's just something that always bothers me. Moving on, I have Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This is definitely one of my favorite Kirby games. I still think that Return to Dreamland is my favorite, and Kirby's Epic Yarn being a close second to that one. But I'd probably put this one at the number 3 spot. And here I have my favorite game of all time, Breath of the Wild. I originally owned this for Wii U. This was the first game that I ever pre-ordered and loved it. And I no longer have my Wii U, my little brother has it. But whenever I got a Switch, I decided to buy this game. That way I would still be able to play it. I also have Skyward Sword HD. To be honest, I've never played this one before. Not even the original on the Wii. But it's one that I do plan to play before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. I've also got Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. This one I got in a package deal on Amazon. I want to say I got 3 games for $20. So I didn't think that was too bad of a deal. And this was one of them that came in that deal. Here I have Metroid Dread. This is the Steelbook. This is from the special edition. I'm a sucker for Steelbooks. I love collecting them. But I think this is one of my favorites that I own. Here's the box for that. Again, they're all over the place on size with these boxes. But this one makes sense because it comes with a pretty big book. So obviously the box has to be bigger for this one. Not all of them make sense being that big though. So it came with this book. This is pretty much all just like concept art. I really enjoy looking at stuff like this, seeing the different arts for the games and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then inside of it, it came with this little insert thing. The steelbook came in there like that. And then this is more art stuff. Here we have the first Metroid, Metroid 2, Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, and then the card for Metroid Dread. I think these are pretty cool. I haven't beat Metroid Dread yet, but I have thoroughly enjoyed what I've played of it. This is actually the first Metroid game that I have ever tried to sit down and play through all the way. And based on what I've played on this one, it's got me interested in playing some of the other ones too. I'd like to eventually get some of the Metroid Prime games and check those out, because I've heard those are some of the best ones. Next, I have another steelbook. This one's for Monster Hunter Rise, and this is a pretty cool looking steelbook too. My only complaint with this one is I went to the same game store that I bought that Hyper Light Drifter copy. They had this, and it was sealed, and I think I paid $30 for it. And since it was sealed, I assumed that it had the game in it as well. I didn't realize that some places just sell steelbooks with no game in them. And so, yeah, this one didn't come with the game. But I have seen where you can sometimes get the cartridge only for this for pretty cheap. So that's something I'll be looking into in the future. I've actually never played any of the Monster Hunter games, but I thought this looked pretty sweet, which got me interested in buying it. Next I have Nintendo Switch Sports. This one came with the box as well that I already showed you earlier. This game, I have mixed feelings about it. Obviously the original Wii Sports is better, but I don't think this one's bad. And with the future content that they're supposed to add, I think it'll get better with time. But I have mixed feelings about that too, because I think that a game should be finished when it's released. Delays don't really bother me. I'd rather have a finished product out of the box, especially when I'm paying full price for something. But that seems to be the way that people do these days. Instead of finishing the game before release, they just release it half finished and have content updates later on. Next is my only import copy of a game that I own. This is Okami HD, and I decided to import this because I didn't realize that they didn't make a physical copy over here for the Switch. So I imported this, I think it was only like $30 or like 35. That's pretty cool. And this is one that has a reversible cover as well. And I like this cover too, but I think I like the other one better. And I always like when they include manuals in games, because it seems like a lot of people don't like to do that these days. So it's always a nice surprise whenever I do find them. I also have Sonic Colors Ultimate. I didn't really feel like this was needed, but I guess it is nice for, people that never played it on the Wii. Now, obviously they can play it on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, whatever. I feel like this could have been a better port. I mean, I was able to get through the game without any major glitches or anything. The biggest problem on Switch is frame rate drops, especially on the final boss fight. I had trouble with, it was going down to 15 FPS, and, being a Sonic game, needing to have high frame rates, that made it a little bit difficult, but overall not bad. I just prefer the original version. Next I have Sonic Forces. I don't think this game is as bad as everyone likes to say it is. I wouldn't say it's great, but it's not horrible. It could have been worse. I enjoyed it. Don't know how I feel about if I'd ever replay it, but for a one-time playthrough, it's only like a $20 game now, so not too bad. And here's my copy of Sonic Mania. This is, I think this one's my favorite 2D Sonic game. I think they did a pretty good job on it. And the guy who made the soundtrack, T. Lopes, he's one of my favorite game music producers. I'm hoping that they come out with a physical Sonic Origins copy as well. But also, I printed this. It's in the style of the old Sonic games, like the Japanese style cover. I don't know if somebody made this or if it's just based off of, I don't know if the Japanese version has this cover or not, but I thought it looked cool, so I printed it off and bought some Switch cases from the Nintendo website. And the inside cover is just blank. I didn't print both sides or nothing, but I thought it was cool for a little display case. And in case you can't tell, I thoroughly enjoy Sonic games. I've also got Stardew Valley. I'm very fond of this game. I like it. I owned it on Steam first and enjoyed every bit of it. I found this at GameStop one time. I didn't realize that they made a physical copy of this either, so this was one that I decided to pick up. And I actually find this better on the Switch in my opinion, just because I think that this game is more enjoyable playing on the go. Fits pretty well on the Switch. Here I have the Jedi Knight collection. These games are pretty good. I enjoyed them. I'd like to get the... It's a double pack like this one. I believe it's, let's see. I think it's Commando and the pod racing game. I've only ever seen the physical version of that once, and it was at GameStop, and I went to buy it, and whenever they went to get the cartridge out, they realized they didn't have it. All they owned was the case. So I passed up on that, but next time I find it, I'm gonna buy it. I have Streets of Rage 4 Anniversary Edition. I enjoyed this game quite a bit. It doesn't take very long to beat. It took me maybe 4 hours, and that was just a casual playthrough, but it's pretty fun. I don't remember if I played the DLC. I played through the main story, and it's pretty good. And here's Super Mario Odyssey. This is another one that I haven't fully played through, but I enjoy what I have played of it. I just have a really bad habit of starting a game and then getting sidetracked on another game, and then it just takes me forever to finish games. I felt like this was a pretty good successor, I'd say, to Mario Galaxy. They both play pretty similarly, in my opinion. And because of that, it's got me really hoping for a Mario Galaxy 3 eventually. I have Team Sonic Racing. This copy came with the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games that I showed you earlier. This was one of the games included in that deal. I can't think of what the other game was. It was something in this collection, but I can't remember which one exactly it was. This was better than I expected it to be. Obviously, Mario Kart is much better, but it's Mario Kart, so this one's better than I expected it to be. So Terraria is also one of my favorite games of all time. I would definitely put it in my top 5. I have owned this on just about every console it's came out on. I started playing it on mobile, not long after it released on mobile. And then from there, I got it on my Xbox 360, and then my Xbox One, and then I think I owned it on PC next, which is my favorite to play on, is probably PC for Terraria. I had to pick it up for Switch. The Switch version is much better than the mobile version, in my opinion. I don't want to hate on the mobile version, because that's the one that I started on, but I do prefer playing it on an actual console or on my PC. I wanted to get this for playing it while I'm out and about, and so I wouldn't have to play it on my phone. I think the control scheme, I should say, is much better for Switch than it is on mobile. And then for my last 2 games of my Switch collection, I have Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3. I haven't played 2 yet. I am most of the way through 3, and I have loved almost every second of it. There have been a couple parts where it gets a little bit mundane. Sometimes just like when you're exploring and you're fighting enemies trying to level up, sometimes that gets a little bit mundane. But it's still really fun. The story is phenomenal. I think the graphics could be better, just a little bit. I'd still say they're pretty good. The cutscenes are very well put together, good voice acting, so highly recommend this one. Unfortunately, I don't own the first Xenoblade game, or Xenoblade Chronicles X, I think it's called, for the Wii U. That's another one I'd like to get eventually. Okay, so next, I'm going to be going over my GameCube and Wii collection. I only have one GameCube game. It is Naruto Clash of Ninja. So I bought this game in order to test my Wii's GameCube functionality. I have the one that can play GameCube games. I got it not long after it released when I was a young kid, but the disk drive went out on it, so I replaced that disk drive. Recently, I replaced the disk drive, and so I got this in order to test that, and it works. So I'd like to, now that I know that I can play GameCube games, I'd like to increase my GameCube collection. The only problem I have with that is most of the games that I want are very expensive on GameCube, especially compared to the other consoles you can buy them on. For example, like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, very expensive game. Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Heroes, all those games are pretty expensive. That's probably something that's going to take a while to build up, but hopefully in the near future I can. On to the Wii, I have Drawn to Life: The Next Chapter. I never played through this fully on the Wii. I have on the DS. I love the DS version much better. This Wii version is just, I don't know, it's weird to me, and it's like a completely different game. But this was one that I bought because I loved the DS version so much, and I figured it would be the same thing, just on the Wii, and it's not. But the DS version I like much better. That was one of my childhood games that I loved. I've also got Epic Mickey. This is another game that I used to play. I got this right after it came out, and I always found it very difficult as a kid, and so I never beat it all the way. But I liked it a lot. I'm sure that it's one that I will attempt to play through eventually. Especially now that I'm an adult, I think that it would be easier for me to play through, because I was like, when did this come out? 2006. So yeah, I would have been like, I probably got this a year after it came out, so I would have been like 5 or 6 when I was playing this. Next I have Family Game Night. Me and my brothers used to play this all the time. Pretty fun, like, party game. It's got Connect 4, Sorry, Battleship. Those were the main ones we used to play, but it's still pretty fun. And here's what I was talking about earlier, Kirby's Epic Yarn. This is one of my favorite Kirby games. Maybe it's just because I'm nostalgic for it, because this was another childhood game. It's one that I enjoy quite a bit. And here's the best Mario Kart game of all time. I hope that's not controversial, but this is definitely my favorite one. I'm excited to see that they're bringing back some of the old Mario Kart courses for the Mario Kart 8 DLC. I'll be excited to pick that up. I'm probably not going to get that until all of the waves come out for that, but it was exciting to see. I love all the maps in this game. They're pretty good. This may also be controversial, but this is one of my favorite Sonic games of all time. I love this one a lot. And I also have the other storybook game, Sonic and the Secret Rings. I didn't like this one as much, but it's still enjoyable for me. Again, very nostalgic. I grew up playing all of these Wii games. Most of these Wii games in my collection are actually the ones that I had when I was a kid, so they're a little bit more nostalgic for me. The original version of Sonic Colors, my favorite version on the Wii. I like the Wii controls for this game better. I guess probably just because I'm more familiar with them. This is also one of my favorite Sonic games. I would put this at number 2, right behind Sonic and the Black Knight, for my second favorite Sonic game, Sonic Unleashed. This is the first version that I ever played of this game, Unleashed, and this is my favorite version. Most of that is probably nostalgia, just because this is the one that I grew up playing. I did not know until a couple years ago that this version is pretty much completely different from the Xbox 360 version, and so I was pretty surprised whenever I picked up the 360 version. Here I have Super Mario Bros. Wii, New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This is my favorite 2D Mario game. I always liked this one too because of the red case. I always thought it looked really cool, and the silver Wii lettering. I like this too because it's got a real thick manual in it. And here's my favorite 3D Mario game of all time, Super Mario Galaxy. This is a Nintendo Selects version of this game, but I mean that doesn't really bother me all that much, because, you know, again, this is the copy that I owned from my childhood. I didn't care back then. I don't really care all that much now. And this is another one that I love, Super Paper Mario. I don't care too much for the newer Paper Mario games. I forget what they're called, but I think there's one on 3DS and one on Switch maybe. This is my favorite one. I like the ones that came out before this as well. Unfortunately, I don't own those, but this is another one, my childhood copy. And lastly, I have Wii Play. This is another very fun party game. Wii Party is also another very good one. I don't have that copy here. Same thing with Wii Sports. I own it, but I don't have it here. And my Wii Sports copy is just, it's the one in the, cardboard sleeve. Nothing too fancy. Okay, next I'm going to quickly go over my original Xbox collection. Here I have Shadow the Hedgehog. Unfortunately, I don't have the cover for this, but I'd like to get it eventually. I've also got Project Gotham Racing. I actually don't know that I've ever played this one. I got it for like $1, so I just went ahead and picked it up. And lastly, I have Halo 2. This is my favorite Halo game. I'd like to eventually pick up the map pack, the multiplayer map pack version of this game. It came with a physical case and everything. I'd also eventually like to get the steelbook version of this as well. I love that steelbook. But I've still got, this has all the manuals and everything in it. And an unused Xbox Live code in here as well. So that's pretty cool, I thought. 2-month free trial. Alright, now for my Xbox 360 collection. I have Batman Arkham City, and I also have Batman Arkham Origins. These two are very good games. The PC port for this one, I believe, is horrible. But on the Xbox 360, they're very good, in my opinion. I've also got BioShock Infinite. This is another nostalgic game for me. This is the only BioShock game that I've played, but I'd like to eventually play the other ones. And I've also got the Borderlands triple pack. This isn't in super great condition, as you can see. I also wouldn't call it horrible condition, though. And it comes with the first one, the second one, and the pre-sequel. And I like these games quite a bit as well. I also have Brink. I don't have much to say about this game, other than it could have been much better than what it was. I've also got Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3. Both of these are in my top 5, I would say, for Call of Duty games. Okay, I'm sure that this is going to be a very controversial opinion, but Call of Duty Ghosts is actually my second favorite. I loved the campaign for this game. Multiplayer is great as well. I remember this game getting a lot of hate, and I never understood why. I love this one. Here I have Assassin's Creed The Americas Collection. This one has Liberation HD, Assassin's Creed 3, and Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I like all of these quite a bit. 3 and 4 are my favorites, so I had to pick this up. I've also got Destiny. I don't have the original case for this, and this isn't the original copy that I owned. Whenever I bought this one, the case was destroyed. I have a bunch of replacement PS2 cases that are brand new. They're very nice, so I just threw it in one of these because, as you can see, the actual the label thing on it is in very good condition. Just the case was destroyed, so went ahead and threw it in here. Looks better than having it in a destroyed, nasty green case. I've also got Gears of War 2. Again, the cardboard is not in the best condition, but it's also not in horrible condition. Next I have Halo 3 and Halo 4. Halo 3 is my second favorite. Halo 4 on my list I would put after Halo Combat Evolved. I don't hate Halo 4. It's definitely better than Halo 5 was. I'll just say that. Next I have Perfect Dark Zero. This is the collector's edition. And as you can see, it is a steelbook. I bought this for $5, which surprised me. Like, I know this game isn't top notch or anything, but I don't think it's horrible. So for $5, I thought that was a really good deal. This cover is damaged just a little bit, but it's not horrible. This steelbook is in really good condition, and it has both discs in here, and it also came with all of the manuals in it as well. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. And then lastly, I have Sonic Generations and Sonic Unleashed. Again, these are both platinum hits versions of the game. That doesn't really bother me. I know some people care a lot about that, but for me, I don't really care. If I enjoy the game, I'll just buy a copy of it. And, if I can find the non-platinum version for around the same price, I'll go ahead and get it. But usually the platinum hits versions and the other console equivalents of that are usually quite a bit cheaper, so I just go with those. Okay, moving on, I will now be going over my Xbox One. I know this says Series X, but it plays on Xbox One as well. I don't have any of the Series consoles. Since I have a PC, I didn't really think it was worth it for me, so I didn't upgrade. But I have Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I bought this the other day for like $14. I know this game isn't super loved, but I thought for $14 I'd give it a shot. I enjoyed Origins and Odyssey quite a bit, so I figured I'd try this one. It may not be as good, but I've also got Black Ops and Black Ops 2, the combo pack. Black Ops 2, I would say, is probably my favorite Call of Duty of all time. And like I said, I'd put Ghosts right behind that. Love the campaign for both of these. Love playing zombies. These games are very nostalgic for me. Here I have the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. I thought these were pretty fun. I never played the originals. I enjoyed playing these through. I don't know if I'd ever play them through again. If I did, it would be quite a while from now. I played these through not long after it came out, and I enjoyed it. And in case you can't tell, I like Dragon Ball just about as much as I enjoy Sonic. Here I have another copy of Fighters, the Day 1 edition, and I've also got Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. So this game I would put in my top 10 favorite of all time. Since I keep mentioning that, I'm curious to know if anyone would be interested in me making a quick video on my top 10 games of all time. If so, just let me know down in the comments or whatever. This is the special edition of Skyrim. I owned this digitally on my Xbox One at first, but GameStop had a promo thing going on where you could get 4 Xbox One or PS4 games in a bin. You could pick 4 out for $20. And so, each game ended up only being $5 a piece. So I picked this one up. I thought this was awesome for $5, that it still had all the manuals and this poster of the map. I thought that was really awesome. I love these games, the Forza Horizon games. Normally I'm not super big on racing games, but these ones are very fun in my opinion. Here's Halo 5. That's all I'm gonna say. Next I have Jedi Fallen Order. I was a little bit nervous whenever I saw that this game was being developed by EA, but I gave it a shot, and I'm very glad that I did, because this is one of my favorite Star Wars games ever made. It's very good. I highly recommend it to anyone that hasn't played it. Even if you don't really care all that much for Star Wars, it's very good, and I'm looking forward to the sequel when it comes out. And this came in that 4 for $20 deal that I was talking about from GameStop, the Day 1 edition of Just Cause 3. I enjoy this game quite a bit. I didn't own it anywhere except on Steam. So I went ahead and got it for my Xbox One. And this actually, surprisingly enough, this download code for Just Cause 2 had never been used. So for $5, I got Just Cause 2 and 3. Obviously, this is just the digital version of Just Cause 2. I was surprised that that hadn't already been used. And here I have Metal Gear Solid 5, both of them, Ground Zeroes and The Phantom Pain. I had never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games before these, but I enjoy these quite a bit. They're very fun. They have me interested in playing the others. This one I picked up the other day for like $12, I think. This one I can't remember how much I paid for. I've also got Minecraft. Obviously, this is another one that I've owned on a lot of devices. Mobile, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, both versions, the Windows 10 and the Java Edition. I have owned it on Wii U. So yeah, just another classic. Here's a series that I used to enjoy, and I now hate, and will never buy another again. In my opinion, 17 was the last good one. 20 was alright. After that, I just stopped caring. It's practically the same game every year, and I don't care as much about basketball as I used to, so. I still keep these, though, just because, number one, I don't think they're worth anything, and number two, it's just something to keep in my collection. I also have Need for Speed Payback. This game's pretty good. I like Heat much better, though. But, again, not bad. Here I have Rise of the Tomb Raider and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I love both of these games a lot, too. I would like to... So, this one here is the Steelbook Edition. And I'd eventually like to get the Steelbook for this as well. But I think I bought this one for like $30, which I didn't think was too bad of a price, because it came with all the inserts that it originally came with. Again, I'm a sucker for steelbooks. By the way, I meant to say that this was in the 4 for $20 deal at GameStop. I was very surprised to see this one in there. I had to pick it up because I love that game so much. And this was the last one that I got in that deal. And this was another one that I was surprised to see in there. And believe it or not, this one for $5 also came with a poster of the map and still had the game manual, stickers that came with it, and all this other stuff in there. So another game that I enjoy a lot and was happy to pick up that still had all that stuff in there. Next, I'm going to quickly go over my PS2 collection. I only have a few games for my PS2. That's another one that I would like to build up soon. A lot of PS2 games are actually pretty cheap, surprisingly, so I don't think it'll be too hard for me to build up my PS2 collection. I just haven't been focusing on it much. Recently, I've mostly just been buying some Xbox 360 and Xbox One games and Switch games, because right now those are the consoles that I play the most on. Here I have Star Wars Battlefront 2. This is a classic. Unfortunately, I don't know if you can, so see, the case is a little rippled, but not too bad. Still in really good condition, in my opinion, other than that little bit there. And it is complete, so that was exciting to find. I think I picked this up for like $12. This one was fairly cheap too. I think I got this for $12 as well, I want to say. And I know it's a greatest hits, but Sonic Mega Collection Plus, and this one is complete as well. So that was a nice surprise. And I also have a complete greatest hits version of Sonic Heroes. And this one I looked for forever, it seemed like. Probably took me like 4 months to find it. I actually almost missed it. I was in a game store with my girlfriend, and I looked right over it, and she pulled it out and was like, "Oh, this is the one you've been looking for." So I was very glad that she spotted that, because I would have missed it had she not. I also have Red Dead Revolver. I haven't played through this one yet. I actually didn't even know that this game existed until recently. I thoroughly enjoyed Red Dead 1 and 2, so I figured I'd pick this one up and just give it a shot sometime. This one doesn't have the manual, but the disc is in good condition. And I actually got this for pretty cheap too, because the place I bought it from hadn't tested the game because they didn't have a way to. And so since it was untested, I got it for free because I had bought some other games with it as well. And he said he'd just throw it in there with the rest, so I thought that was pretty sweet. And then finally, I have God of War 2. This is the 2-disc set. I got a fairly good deal on this as well. It's a little bit damaged. Somebody decided to mark out the rating on this for some reason. Next, I'm going to be going over my DS games. So starting us off, I have Drawn to Life: The Next Chapter. This is the actual good version of the game. I think this was one of the first games that I owned on my DS. I got my DS right before I started kindergarten, I think. But I only had a few games for it for quite a while. But I think this was one of the first probably like 5 games I got. It's really good. This is one of my favorites on the DS. Next I have Doodle Jump Journey. This was one that I originally played on mobile first, on an old like play phone that I had. I had no idea they made this for DS. Whenever the 3DS came out, Walmart had this on clearance for like $5. So this is one that I got then. And next I have some Lego games. If you've ever played this on the DS, you'll know how much it sucks. This one's pretty good though. I like the Wii version of this game better. I don't own that anymore, but I used to. And lastly, for the Lego games, is the best Lego game ever made for DS. I actually used to have 2 copies of this. I don't anymore, unfortunately. But I loved this game. I still love it. It's good. Next I have the #1 DS game of all time, Disney's Jonas. I made a joke short about this. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. The story behind these is I ordered some replacement original DS cases, like first party DS cases, off of eBay. And the place I ordered from said that they were empty, like just regular empty DS cases. Whenever I got them, I was very surprised to open it up and find there to be like, I don't know, like 25 copies of Disney's Jonas, all completely sealed. And this is just, I mean, they've all got very thick manuals in them. I'm keeping 2 copies original like this just for the meme, but as you can see, I'm keeping one sealed because this is a very valuable game, like worth $1 sealed, I think. I know, that's crazy, isn't it? And then I have one that has been opened. But, I mean, obviously, as you can tell by the price, these are just shovelware. But I thought that was kind of funny whenever I got them. And then next, these are games that I haven't played in a long time, but I enjoyed them a lot as a kid. SpongeBob's Truth or Square and Wireway. This game is a little bit wacky, but it's really fun, actually. I recommend it if you haven't played it. It's an experience, I'll put it that way. So I have quite a few more DS games. but they're all loose copies, so I don't really care too much to show them off. This was it still is one of my favorite Sonic games. This was, I believe, the first Sonic game I ever owned. I remember when I was in first grade, I think. I want to say that's right, first or second grade. A kid that I rode the bus to school with had this game on his DS and showed it to me, and I loved it. So I begged my parents to get it for me, and they did. So this is my childhood copy. I have somehow managed to lose the actual case for it. I'm hoping that I will be going through stuff one day and find it, but I also don't want to get my hopes up. But I do still have the manual for it, and I've got the cartridge, so maybe if I find sometime just the case for sale, maybe I'll just pick it up, because I've got this stuff, so if I can just find the case, I'll have a complete copy of it. Alright, lastly, I'm going to be going over my 3DS collection. So first off, we have Lego City Undercover, The Chase Begins. I enjoy this game quite a bit. I've heard that the Wii U version is better. I can't confirm or deny that because I've never owned it. I thought the 3DS version was pretty good. And then here are two other Lego games. I thought both of these were not very good. I would probably never play them again, but I own them. I also have Ocarina of Time 3D. Pretty proud of this one. I know it's a Nintendo Select. I love this game. I love this version of the game, and recommend it. Unfortunately, I do not have Majora's Mask 3D. But next I have Scribblenauts Unlimited. I like the original Super Scribblenauts much better, but this one's pretty good as well. Next I have Pokemon Y. Sadly, I don't own a physical copy of Pokemon X, but these two are my favorite Pokemon games. So I hope to pick up a copy of X sometime soon. I bought this one at a pawn shop recently for, I think it was 30 or 29, something like that. Not a horrible deal, also not a great deal, but I wanted it, so. And it is complete, so that was exciting. I also have New Super Mario Bros. 2. Follows the theme with the red case. This one is also complete, and I thought this one was pretty fun. Not my favorite, but I did like the golden flower thing. I thought it was very hectic, but cool. And here I have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This game might be considered shovelware, I'm not for sure, but I liked it when it first came out. I thought it was pretty fun. And obviously this one is based on the movie that came out, I guess it's been 8 years ago now. And then lastly, I have Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. This is pretty good, I'd say. I like Brawl better. Ultimate is my favorite one, to be honest. Sadly, I don't own that one. I've played my brother's version of it. I'd like to pick up Ultimate eventually. This one's pretty good. One thing I did like about this is the Wii U version. You could actually you could download a thing from the eShop on your 3DS and then use your 3DS as a controller to play the Wii U version on your TV. So I always thought that was pretty cool. And that wraps it up for my game collection. If you'd like to see another one of these in the future, as I grow my collection, I can make more of these videos. Just, I could post updates every once in a while showing what I've picked up recently and maybe talking about what I plan to pick up in the future. So if you've made it this far, let me know how this video was. This is my first one recording my voice. So let me know, if the audio was good, if the video was good, just let me know how it was. And if you have any future ideas for videos, comment, let me know. Can't guarantee I'd be able to do all of them, but if there is something you'd like to see, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. I'd appreciate it if you would leave a like. If you disliked the video, go ahead and leave a thumbs down as well, that way I know. But give me constructive criticism. If you didn't like the video, comment and tell me why, that way I can improve. Thanks for watching.